Hi, I'm Jim the Arts Guy, and I'm going to step away a little bit from my usual videos and let you know a little bit more about my background connected with cancer. Now, in 2005, I had experienced a severe stomach ache, severe enough that in the middle of the night I had to wake my wife up to let her know that I felt something was drastically wrong and that I had to basically go to the hospital. And so since one of our children was only like about almost 3 at the time, we had decided that it would be best if she stayed at home with our kid, and then I would call my mother and have her drive me to the emergency room at our local hospital. And we did so, and waited painfully at the hospital until they could get us in after a while. And they, of course, had asked me various questions about when did it start and the amount of pain and everything. They did assign me to a room, and they had taken me down to X-ray to see exactly what was going on inside. And then after the X-ray, they brought me back to the room, and they gave me some medication to help take care of some of the pain. And after a while, the pain did lessen quite a bit until it was at the point where I could be sent home. In sending me home, they did put me in touch schedule-wise with meeting with a surgeon, which I thought was a bit unusual, but I did so, and met with a surgeon, and a few days later, and he did bring up the 3 words that stuck with me for a long time, that probably 3 very not so good words, and they were, "We found something." And so in exploring, in looking at the X-ray, he had told me about his suspicions based upon what he saw, and he mentioned 3 other terms. He mentioned mass, tumor, and then finally carcinoid, and he described carcinoid as a cancer-like type of thing. And for me, some of those words, mass and tumor and carcinoid and mainly cancer, it was difficult for me to really take in without it feeling like a kick in the gut that I might have some sort of cancer. And although he did try and downplay it a little bit, that it was only cancer-like, it was basically working like cancer would, and it had created a tumor. Now, they weren't absolutely sure. I had to go through a number of tests over time, missing work. At that time, I had a couple of months previous had sold the business that I had, the successful business, and I was going into working for another place where I felt it was something I was interested in, I knew, and I felt I was going to be there for quite some time. But because I was diagnosed, because I had that carcinoid tumor that they had found, they felt I ended up having to miss work here and there for doing various tests, which was difficult, and then came that I had to go in they scheduled for the surgery after looking over the various scans and stuff that they had taken, and determined that it's most likely what they had thought was a tumor created by a carcinoid type of effect, in which it was in my guts. It had caused a problem by where my appendix used to be. I had my appendix removed as I was a teenager when it had become inflamed and had ruptured and filled with gangrene. So I was in the hospital there at that time for a few days, and so the tumor was in the site of where that was, and so they had set me up to have the surgery to have it removed, and I had gone in, they had taken it out, and because of the area and that it was starting to have an effect on surrounding tissues and organs, they had to take away also part of my intestines, as this was a carcinoid of the small bowel, and they had also taken part of my ileum, the part of the part towards the end of your system, in which it kind of helps regulate being able to control when to go to the bathroom. Well, I had that all removed, and it had created some issues in recovery because I no longer had the amount of operational organs in my system that could break down food effectively and turn it into what the body would need. And so I ended up coming up with some side problems from that. I became very loose after that, where I whatever I would eat, it wouldn't get a chance to really stay in there for a while and to absorb nutrients and stuff from the food, to break it down and such. And so it would end up just going through my system. And so because of that, my body couldn't absorb things like vitamins quite as easily. And so I developed B12 deficiency, and I also had developed what would be known as bile malabsorption syndrome. And so now from those I had to end up taking pills since then, like Colestid and other medication, over-the-counter omeprazole, because of to help get rid of gastric reflux, and because that had created problems in of itself as all connected with this, that it had worn out my esophagus so that it became very difficult for me to eat and hold down food, and so that had to be repaired somewhat, and they did part of that through checking out to see the damage through putting a scope down there, but also they had to have me basically take omeprazole, which helps control acid creation, and I've taken that along with the Colestid. And then I also take lisinopril to also help with some of my symptoms. But I had continued on like that, and I was still able to work and do things, though I had to always make sure that I knew where the bathrooms were wherever I went. And so what had ended up occurring is that after a few years down the line, 12 years since the time I was of my first tumor, another one had developed in the mesentery area, and so they had to take that out of there. At the time, I don't think these were very big tumors, but they were big enough to create a problem. And so in 2017, I had been diagnosed then with this, what they would at that point refer to not so much as carcinoid, but more as a more suitable type of term nowadays, metastatic neuroendocrine cancer. And because it was traveling basically, wanting to affect different systems. And so I had the surgery for that in 2018, and they had removed the new cancerous tumor. And so along with that, they also took this time, and this was a choice, but it was one that they had recommended at the time, is taking also my gallbladder. And the way they described it, yeah, it would have created possibly some more problems down the line. And so I figured, and they said, well, you can get by without it. People have done that. Some of the other organs and connections kind of take over. And of course it also created a problem in that, since the gallbladder kind of helps control how much bilirubin is put into the system. Without that being there now, the gallbladder, the stuff was just constantly moving in there. And so I became even more loose. And so I'm continuously now, going day by day, and still able to do certain things, though not quite as well as I used to. And I see an oncologist once a month to kind of keep track of it, because one of the things that it's doing, the carcinoid, is wanting to affect my liver. In fact, I'm technically listed with them in their records as having what's called hepatocellular carcinoma, HCC, which basically means liver cancer. And so I go each month into get a blood test done, where they can then check my levels with my doctor visit like an hour later with the oncologist. And then after that, after my visit, then I go in for infusion injections, to have that, what those injections do is they help to kind of hold back the symptoms, hold back the effect that the cancer is having on my system, and slows it down at least. It still wants to try and affect it, and also affect other things around it. And so I deal every day with various things, a lot of aches and pains throughout my body, and weakness. Even after a night's sleep, I can still feel like that I could still sleep for another day or two, and just a whole bunch of stuff that comes along. And it can be especially hard because for those that have different kinds of diseases and illnesses and inflictions that affect a lot internally, it's hard for other people obviously, to be able to see that there's something not quite normal, not quite right that person is dealing with. And so these kind of things there's a lot of silent type of effects that go on as far as, internally. And so people can look at you, and and if you seem to be getting by, they probably don't give it too much thought, but they don't also know all that the person has to go through, the person has to deal with day to day. And I still have the cancer in my system. It's still wanting to affect things. Eventually, it might start to affect the liver, and it's even wanting to, I think, infiltrate the pancreas, the liver's neighbor. And so a lot of things going on, and it's just can be tricky to deal with, quite an adventure. My next thing is that we're coming into another month here, and in the next month after that, I have an appointment to go in to speak with a neurologist regarding other issues that I've had, of which includes tremors and such. And so my regular medical provider and and others that I've mentioned this to, they suspect that it could possibly be, not absolutely sure until have the thing checked over and go through various tests, that it could be Parkinson's, it could be even be MS, and although there is also the possibility, I don't think it's quite as much as the other two choices of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, but won't know for sure until my exam and testing and so forth. It might end up coming up as that it's something else. So, hoping for the best, of course, but waiting and seeing, and I can keep updating on when things change. But even with all this going on, I'm still going to be out and about as much as possible, and photographing in art and music, things that I enjoy, and as long as I can do certain things, I'll be out there doing them. I don't want to be just sitting or lying around. I won't be able to get out. It would drive me nuts to have to spend time in any kind of like hospital or anything. As nice as the people might be, the places can just kind of bring me down in and of itself, just not being able to get out and do things. And I have gone through, because of the nature of the illnesses and stuff, I have even gone through certain feelings from time to time which can resemble depression, but so far that hasn't presented itself as severe as some other things, manageable. So we will just see how things go. One of the other problems that had come up, that the cancer itself can kind of help to fuel, is heart issues. And I deal with a cardiomyopathy. I have an ascending aortic aneurysm, and I have hypertension that I deal with, and it can all be just something else to add to the mix as to what now or now what, But a lot of people that go through, cancers and different kinds of things like that, oftentimes are very familiar with that kind of thought process, that kind of questioning of what now, It's just something that we have to deal with and have to adapt the best we can. So until next time, bye.